Forget the magnifying glass and the dusty footprints you see in old detective movies. Today, the real detective work, it happens on a hard drive. We're about to dive deep into the world of digital forensics, which is basically the science of uncovering the electronic secrets that solve modern crimes.
Just think about your own phone or your laptop for a second. It's a running record of your entire life, right? But what happens when a device just like that becomes part of a crime scene? What kinds of secrets could it tell if you only knew how to ask the right questions? That's really the core of what we're exploring.
So, to get to the bottom of that, investigators start with one key idea. Every single device is a potential treasure trove of evidence. We're going to start by looking at exactly what kind of secrets a hard drive can hold and why they've become, without a doubt, the most critical clues in modern justice. And that is the crucial point. From the emails you send, the websites you visit, the photos you take, even the files you thought you deleted, it all leaves a trace. For a digital detective, these little footprints are the clues that can piece together the whole story and ultimately solve the case.
But finding these clues isn't as simple as just browsing through someone's photo album. Every single action an investigator takes could potentially alter the evidence. That's why they need a specialized digital detectives kit. And one of the most essential tools in that kit is a super powerful open source platform called Autopsy.
So meet Autopsy. It was developed by a company called Basis Technology, and it's basically a platform designed to make the incredibly complex process of a digital investigation, well, a whole lot simpler. You can think of it like a virtual laboratory for dissecting hard drives.
So why is Autopsy the go-to tool for so many investigators? Well, a huge reason is that it's open source, which makes it totally free and accessible to pretty much everyone. But more importantly, it packages these incredibly powerful analysis tools into a user-friendly interface. It's that combination of power and simplicity that makes everyone from local police departments to global law enforcement agencies rely on it. Now, this might sound a little bit counterintuitive, but the most critical work actually happens before an investigator even double-clicks on that autopsy icon. The entire case, everything they're working towards, rests on maintaining the integrity of the original evidence. One wrong move, and the whole thing could get thrown out of court. So, preparation is everything. First, they have to define the scope. What exactly are we looking for here? Second, they secure the original evidence with a device called a write blocker. It's like the velvet ropes at a museum. It lets you look at all the data, but it physically prevents you from making any accidental changes. And finally, the analysis itself happens in a secure, totally isolated digital lab to make sure nothing from the outside world can contaminate the evidence. Okay, with all that groundwork laid, the hunt can officially begin. The investigator fires up Autopsy and starts the search for those first crucial clues. So, what does that actually look like in practice? The very first steps are pretty straightforward, but they are absolutely vital. The investigator creates a new case file, logging all the important details like the case number and their own info. Then they add the data source, and this is usually a perfect bit-for-bit copy of the original hard drive, what's known as a disk image. And this is where the fun begins. Once that data is loaded, Autopsy's powerful engines just fire up. It automatically goes through and parses the entire file system, sorting everything into logical categories. Imagine a machine that could instantly organize a billion scattered puzzle pieces by color and shape. That's what Autopsy does, giving the investigator a solid starting point. From there, investigators attack the data from two different angles. First is what's called file system analysis. This is like looking at a map of the entire hard drive to see the layout. All the images are here, all the documents are over there. Then they switch to a keyword search, which is more like using a microscope to zoom in and hunt for specific names, phrases, or numbers, even inside files that someone thought they had deleted for good. But that initial analysis, that's really just scratching the surface. The real aha moments, the game-changing discoveries, often come from digging much deeper, using more advanced techniques to uncover evidence that someone tried very hard to hide. One of Autopsy's most powerful features is something called timeline analysis. See, every file on a computer has all this hidden data about itself, called metadata. This includes timestamps for when a file was created, when it was modified, and when it was last accessed. Autopsy gathers all of these timestamps from everywhere and organizes them into a clear, easy-to-read timeline, which lets an investigator reconstruct a precise sequence of events. Next up, we have hash analysis. Every single file has a unique digital fingerprint, and that's called a hash. Autopsy can compare the hashes of the files on the evidence drive against these massive global databases of known malicious software or illegal content. If there's a match, boom, it gets flagged instantly. This means an investigator can connect a local device to a global criminal network in just seconds, without a human ever having to look at the offending file itself. Okay, this next one is my favorite. What happens if a suspect deleted the evidence? Well, that's where data carving comes in. Even when a file is deleted, its data often stays on the drive, just in scattered fragments. Data carving is the process of finding these fragments and piecing them back together. It's really the digital equivalent of painstakingly reassembling a shredded diary. It's amazing stuff. So finding the evidence is one thing, but it's really only half the battle. Now the investigator has to take all of these digital clues and build them into a coherent, legally sound case that can actually be presented in a court of law.
The final steps in the workflow are all about reporting and documentation. Autopsy can generate these super detailed reports in different formats like PDF or HTML, and they can be customized to show only the most relevant findings. But alongside that, the investigator has to maintain meticulous notes and screenshots of their entire process to make sure everything they did is transparent and verifiable.
And this really brings it all home. A powerful tool like Autopsy is absolutely incredible, but it's not magic. The success of any case ultimately comes down to the investigator's skill, their methodical approach, and their commitment to those core forensic principles. The human element is still, by far, the most important part of the equation.
So, as we continue to embed our lives deeper and deeper into the digital world, the work these digital detectives do is only going to become more critical. It really leaves you wondering, doesn't it? What new tools and what new techniques will they need to uncover the secrets hidden inside the devices of the future?